Visit them today at AffordableKitchensandBaths.net.
8:36 in the Big 550 KTRS. David Stokes joins us every Monday from the Show Me Institute. Good morning, David Stokes.
Good morning, McGraw.
We now live in a world where we're living under these sequestration cuts, and Republicans are giving credit to President Obama for these government spending cuts.
Well, frankly, I don't care who gets the credit. You know, you can, as the saying goes, you can accomplish a lot if you don't worry about who gets credit. So I'm on board with that. They all legitimately, they all deserve some of the credit.
Some of the credit and some of the blame, however you want to look at it.
Right, and I view it as a thing for credit. I mean, the federal spending has been out of control for a long time, and you can make arguments about the necessary aspects of the stimulus a few years back, but I mean, we're in an enormous amount of debt. We have a huge deficit, enormous national debt, and we're talking about a 2% cut in certain discretionary funding, and some people are, you know, the typical sky is falling thing. They deserve credit for it.
But what's interesting about this, not the Democrats that the sky are falling, because you would expect that, right? Government cuts spending, and all of a sudden Democrats are the ones crying sky is falling. What's interesting is the Republicans who are saying the sky is falling and trying to blame Obama for government cutting its spending, which 6 months ago he was a socialist, and now he's gutting government and killing jobs.
Right, they should be owning it. You know, they should be saying, yes, we did it. We're going to do a roughly 2% non-discretionary spending cut.
Right.
I predict most Americans really won't notice the effects. Some people will be hurt by it. I don't want to sound flippant here that it's not going to affect some federal employees negatively. It will, and it's not easy. And is there a way we could have done it a little better? Of course. I mean, brinksmanship is not a great way to run the government.
Well, but your comment last week over, you know, everybody's got a sacred cow. And everybody wants to cut spending, but nobody wants to say it because they're going to upset one constituency or another. So across the board, cuts is really the only way to get it done, or this brinksmanship, as you call it. Republicans should say, we brought the president to his knees.
And the president should be saying, yeah, we got together and cuts, but we agreed 2 years ago to this, and it's working out. We're cutting spending. Perhaps they're all secretly happy that it's being done. They're just all feel that they have to play the PR game to disown it at the same time.
Government's going to shut down March 27th if we don't do anything. What do you see going on there?
Well, of course, nobody wants that. You know, nobody wants additional dramaticism. We all wish that the government could be run like in the movie Dave, where Kevin Kline, you know, he decides that, you know, darn it, I'm going to solve this deficit problem. So we all wish we could go get our friend the accountant, Charles Grodin, to come in.
It was great in that.
And just look through the books and solve it. But as you just said, everybody's got their sacred cows. And it's these across-the-board cuts and the brinksmanship, for that term, are an unfortunate necessity, and that it shouldn't be that way, but it really is. And I would think that with sequestration going through, I don't think that we're going to see, just a personal opinion here, I don't think we're going to see a government shutdown on March 27th, which is my birthday, in which with my political views might be considered a gift.
All right, let's move on to a story closer to home. You were at this Ellisville court case going on in Ellisville about this TIF with Walmart. What happened at this court case?
Well, on last Wednesday, I went to the court hearing where the mayor of Ellisville was trying to get a temporary restraining order to prevent the impeachment proceedings from beginning that night.
Right.
And so I went out. I was planning on going to the Ellisville hearing itself. Then I heard about the court hearing, and Clayton's a lot closer to me than Ellisville.
Certainly understandable.
So I thought, I'll go to that one. It was very interesting.
Right.
They tried to apply for a judge to prevent it just because of the truly sort of strange and ugly, these are my terms, the ugly nature of the accusations without really any backing to it. And the judge just didn't feel that she could go that far this early in the process.
The judge basically said, nothing's happened yet, so you haven't been wronged. Come back to me when something happens and you think and you've actually been wronged or perceived to have been wrong.
Right, and she was able to say, you know, I know that it's highly likely tonight there will be actions to come, but she didn't see any way that circuit courts could step in to prevent Ellisville from doing something that Ellisville has in its city charter.
Right.
No matter what type of a joke they're making of that, they have that right. So I think the judge was correct in her decision.
And I think Chet Pleben and Adam Paul, the mayor of Ellisville, thought it was a long shot, but why not? Why not get a little attention? Why not get a little press out of it? Now they have 45 days to go investigate these allegations, come back in 45 days, and whether kick him out, impeach him or not, right? I mean, that's where it stands now.
That is where it stands, and it is fascinating. I certainly have my bias here, but just from the perspective of trying to be a student of local government, this is not something you see very often in Missouri. You're seeing the impeachment of a mayor, and leaving aside the fact that there's, I think, no legitimate reason to do it. I mean, it is very interesting to watch a city go through this process. I think it's unfortunate because I don't think it's being done for the right reasons at all.
The city is tearing itself apart.
The city is tearing itself apart. There's some of the citizens are just, some of the citizen activists, the people who make up Ellisville, are just baffled.
Right.
They're both confused and livid. And I've talked to some of them. They can't, between their anger and their confusion and their disenchantment, I mean, there's a lot of pain in Ellisville right now.
The interesting thing about all of this is that this fight is over this TIF for Walmart, or the developer to build a Walmart. There's the other argument in Shrewsbury right there on Watson, where they want to give TIF money to a developer, a different developer, to build a Walmart. In Florrisant, they're building a Walmart in Florrisant, and Walmart is getting no special deals from Florrisant. So in actuality, towns are actually having Walmarts built and not giving any subsidies to Walmart.
It can happen, and it is happening. And Florissant's one where the city council rejected a TIF, and Walmart said they were going to go, well, not Walmart, the developer said he was going to go ahead with the project anyway. And I hope the project does go ahead. I'm not sure that it's moving forward as quickly as people would like, but I don't think that has to do anything with the subsidy or not. But in other parts of Missouri, this is really starting to happen. In Kansas City, you have 2 Walmart proposals going forward without any subsidies, one in the city of Kansas City and one in a suburb of Lee's Summit. Both are going forward, and Walmart, or the developers, have not asked for any type of tax subsidies. And you've got another one in Springfield going forward without any subsidies at all. You can do this if it's the right development. In all 3 of these, it's early in the process, so things can change. And there's no guarantee that in the end they won't try and get some type of late subsidy.
Right.
But I think all 3 are it's unlikely to happen in all 3. Each is sort of controversial, but not for the reasons of a subsidy.
I would love to see somebody opening up a lawn care company in Ellisville. Go to the Ellisville Council and ask for a TIF to start his lawn mowing company. Right? I mean, what do you think would happen if this, Bob Schwartz walked in and asked for a TIF to start his lawnmower company in Ellisville? Do you think he would be laughed out of the office?
Well, he would be laughed out, and that's what's so ugly about the whole subsidy process, and that the government gets to say, the government picks the winner and picks the loser. We support this type of business, and we are not going to support this type of business. And it gets even worse when you get areas like perhaps Ballpark Village, where they're going to subsidize new restaurants that come in that will now be subsidized to compete against restaurants that have been in downtown St. Louis for decades.
Right.
That's where it becomes patently unfair.
You know what's interesting? On a side note, I was down at Lake of the Ozarks this weekend, which is a really nice place. I mean, Lake of the Ozarks is a great place, and I haven't really taken advantage of it in the last couple of years that I've been here. But I went to dinner at a restaurant, and it was packed, and they said it's going to take 20 to 30 minutes, but you can certainly go to the bar and wait. And I said, great, love to. So we go to the bar, you walk in the bar, and lo and behold, there's one person smoking. And you walk into the bar area, and instantaneously it's like, oh, it reeks, and it smells, and it's just terrible. So I said, we turned around, and I said, I'll just wait here in the little waiting area. And it was amazing to me that living in St. Louis and living and working in St. Louis City and St. Louis County, we've now become so used to walking into places where there's no smoking. You go outside, and in Lake of the Ozarks, where they don't have any local ordinances against smoking. I can't believe that you can still smoke in a bar in places in Missouri.
And just as you say, one person smoking.
One person smoking is ruining it for the entire place.
Whereas 5 years ago, one person smoking would have been, whoa, thank goodness, only one person smoking.
Right.
This is like nothing.
But I mean, it's amazing that this one person, they're so don't tell us what to do to allow this one person is going to ruin it for all these other people who were. There were just as many people waiting in this vestibule area as waiting at the bar because. And I asked them, like, why are you here? They're like, oh, the bar smoke. So you're upsetting all of these customers to allow one person to smoke. It just made no sense to me.
And I think that in the near future, you will see businesses react to problems like that by just deciding on their own to forbid smoking on their own premises.
Well, I asked the guy, I was like, why are you allowing that woman to cause the possibility of giving me cancer? And he's like, what are you talking about, sir? I'm like, she's blowing secondhand smoke in my face. Oh, you're a liberal. I'm like, what do you mean a liberal? What does that have to do with being a liberal or conservative anyway? When can we read you and when can we see you?
You can read everything the Show Me Institute publishes at showmeinstitute.org, and you can follow me on Twitter at David C. Stokes.
And then Election Day is tomorrow.
In the city, the primary day is tomorrow, and then the general municipal election day for the rest of the St. Louis area is in April.
It's a relatively controversy-free election, safe to say?
Well, in April, we've got in the city?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not the expert on the internal.
I mean, but there's nothing really major coming. I mean, I know it's the big Lewis Reed versus Mayor Slay race, but I mean, it seems been relatively quiet, right? No?
Well, other than there's the large mayor's race, but there's no other ballot issues that I know of.
Right,
and most of the automatic races are quiet.
Yeah, but it hasn't been, there's nothing controversial about it. I mean, there's no, I don't know. It seems to me like of all the mayor's races that have taken place over the last couple of times when there's been contested, it seems to be there's much more much more contentious, I should say.
I think the race took a really slow start. It took a long time to really get going, and it's only sort of been an active mayor's race for the last couple of weeks here.
Yeah, I can't wait because my mailbox is stuffed to the gills with 4-color postcards, and it just go straight into the trash. So, what do I know? All right. David Stokes, have yourself a good week. Thanks.
Bye, McGraw.
8:50, we'll check traffic and weather, and then we're going to talk a little Mizzou hoops with Mike Kelly right here on the Big 550 KTRS.